Strategies, which is going to take a look at a very small piece of information, but one which is very fundamental to our development. The question came from a colleague, fellow martial artist up in Scotland, who was sending me an article about the alignment of the fist during the typical karate punch, oizuki, chokazuki, junzuki, whatever you want to call it. So the question comes about whether your fist should be lined up like this, or as so many do like this, for the end position when we're punching. And the issue, I think, is slightly misaligned, because we're talking about an end position. And if I'm making contact at the end position, then it doesn't really matter, because I'm not going to hurt him. There's no follow through if I'm hitting out here. If I'm making this kind of touch, then it's only kumite. And if it's only kumite, there's not going to be any harm done. So where I really want to be connecting is part way through the movement, because it's got to make its contact and continue. Now in that case, where I make contact is going to be from the start, halfway to 3/4 of the way into the movement. Any more than that, any extension on that, and what we end up with is a little jab, a little springy punch, a little zap, and any less than that, and it's not going to get any momentum behind it, unless you've got a very sharp acceleration from the start. So from where you start, which might be down there, halfway to 3/4 of the way of the total traffic is where it's going to make its contact. So when we make that contact, we're not going to be at full rotation. And we might not even be here. It's more likely to be this, which if you think about it, is more like how your arm naturally swings. So why then look at the end positions at all? Well, in some ways, they're there to limit damage to your own joints so that you don't tear anything. Use a little bit of tension to stop these things from being damaged by punching in thin air. So don't punch thin air. Well, some people have got to. If you're hitting pads, you're going to make contact part way through, as we said. If you're hitting people, you should be hitting them part way through. Or for kumite, where it's not going to hurt them anyway. It's just going to be the end of the movement, and you're just looking to make that little jarring effect, or that little bit of contact that lets people know that you were there, that lets people see the point being scored. So when we're making contact part way through, why look at the tear, the spin? The spin is there to tear. If we're making contact up here, for instance, and the continuation of the turn of the hand as it goes in, that's looking to tear skin. That's why the twist punch is banned in boxing, because the match would be over too soon. We're going to hit, tear, blood, fight finished, no more fight. People are unhappy with the prospect of having paid out to watch something that then doesn't happen. So in boxing, we want the punch to be direct, wants to be heavy, wants to be knocking people around, wants the prospect of a knockout, but we don't want torn skin. When we're looking at karate, we want to touch and spin, and that spin is going to be part of what we do that causes either brainstem twist, we're looking to make the head spin, we're looking to make a feeling of spinning inside, or it means that we want to tear something on the way. So we're very rarely going to land it on the face deliberately and cause that, because otherwise people are going to go to hospital, have stitches and all the rest. But we can look at it on the effect on the body, we can land it here and look at, if I hit in, and how hard we can go on there on a muscly plate that's made to take impact, and then we can look at the small twist and see what damage that does, see how that affects the body differently. And the body, as we know, is only going to take so much, so a lot of the time we'll end up using big old pads. Now here the damage comes from the twist, and we've got to be careful that we don't twist the fist and damage our own skin, because the pad's meant to take a fair whack, and it's meant to be slightly abrasive. So sometimes you've got to limit it and just put it in straight, And you go, well, that's not going to get to there anyway, okay, because we're going to make our impact part way through the movement. So locking it down into the body and coming in, but we're not going to see the full extension of the movement because there's a pad in the way, there's something to receive the blow. Where we see the twist, sometimes students will get cuts between their knuckles where the skin has torn. Obviously, if you do it enough, then the skin toughens up and it doesn't happen. But again, always under supervision from someone who knows what they're doing and knows why you'd want to practice that way. It's not for everyone, and it's got to be said that if you're going to school or going to work in the morning and your knuckles are all bloodied up, you're going to look particularly strange, so you've got to be careful. This kind of pad is made to accept impact. We can drop it in on that as hard as we like, and people can go, yeah, give it more, give it more, give it more. This kind of pad isn't. This kind of pad just diffuses the impact, spreads it out, stops it from causing, point damage to certain places. Instead, it just spreads it out. And you still get the effect on the body. So with this kind of pad, we always start light, build up, and as we build up, just this way a little bit more, then we start to see it, and you get the effects in the body. You can hear the air going, you can see what we're doing. Again, on this kind of pad, you're not going to get too many full twists. So full twist has to be done quite slowly if we're going to touch the body, or in thin air. If we're going to go full speed and power, then quite often, the only way you're going to get a full twist is if the other person comes off of the pad. So if we start all the way over here, and we go to here, then I'm going to get that, but the body's already come away from the end position that I've reached. So it's a complex issue. We've not really got enough time in these small segments to get into it. We can illustrate all these things for you when we see you on courses, seminars. Come train with us, come visit Dojo. We're quite happy to see anyone who wants to come and learn, come and train. But one thing at a time, and this just hopefully explains the difference between this, which is an M position, nothing more to give, and where we're really going to make the contact part way through, and the alignment of the bones at that point is going to be a natural structure. It's going to be an alignment that the body wants to accept, one bone above the other. Maybe not exactly this way, maybe this way, because that's the way your elbow makes your arm bend, but the structure will be aligned, not, as so many people are saying, when you make the full twist and the bones cross, how you create a weakness. This is the end. It's not where you make the impact. You make the impact part way through the movement. At that point, we're properly aligned. At the M position, it's the M position. Whether you're contacting here, or with these three, or whatever it is you're making contact with, the M position is the end of the movement. Whatever you've done has already been done by that point. I think I've said it enough. I think I've made myself clear, but at the same time, if I haven't, please say so.